If I get murdered, I need you to write the screenplay.
Sure. I will go to whatever prison Drew is in, and I will interview him. It's always the husband.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the newest episode of Middle-Aged Millennial MILF Podcast. I am here with my very good friend, Tom Donnelly, also known as T.D. Donnelly, author of Year of the Rabbit, which we will talk about. But before that, Tom, introduce yourself. What's your little quip you normally give for this stuff?
Sure. Well, let's see. I have been let's put it this way. We were at Author Nation. That's where we met. Actually, we might have met at BoucherCon. I'm not sure, but definitely Author Nation is where we got to really hang. And Craig Martell called me the least experienced and most experienced writer at the con. Least experienced because I have only one book out. Most experienced because I've been a professional paid writer, no day job for this is my 30th year. So 30 years now, no day job, just writing. And that's because I'm a screenwriter. That's my, few of my works, in the background there. So professionally, screenwriting wise, I'm Thomas Dean Donnelly, my full three names. Because when I was starting out, there was another Tom Donnelly who was a screenwriter. He wrote the movie Quicksilver with Kevin Bacon, where Kevin Bacon was a stockbroker who lost everything and then became a bike messenger, I think was that movie. Anyway, he wrote that movie. And for a little while during the early days, I would get his residual checks, which was very, very nice. I appreciated that very much. And unfortunately, for the last 15 years, he's been getting my residual checks, which is a bit more of a problem. But
and he's like, "Thank you. I'm glad I made that shitty movie in the '80s. Now I'm getting all your money."
He made more than that. Tom Donnelly is a very good screenwriter. He's A-okay in my book. I think he's a good writer. I like him. Anyway. So and then in novels, I went by T.D. Donnelly. Just because it's a lot of words. My full name is a lot of words to put on a book jacket. So that's what I went with there.
Well, and also the initials are very prolific it's on brand. It was like Drew writes with L.T. Ryan, like the initials are where it's at. So
I have a theory about that. My theory is that when women who are the majority of readers, so congratulations to you women, that you guys are the audience. You're the only ones who read books. Okay. When they see initials, I think there's like a little thought in the back of their head that this could be a woman. Maybe it's possible that this could be a woman. So that's just my own theory, though.
But I think it's a good theory.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Look at that. Tom's already knocking it out of the park, guys. All right. I want to hear though, first off, 30 years. So what, you got started when you were 1 year old? You look like you're 30 years old, Tom.
Oh, thank you. So sweet. I was very young. I was very fortunate to, okay. Long story short, I grew up in central New Jersey. My father was an accountant. He worked in Manhattan. So we were a commuter suburb. We were about a 40-minute train ride from Grand Central Station and Penn Station in Manhattan. And my mother sold real estate and was a stay-at-home mom. That was the two things that she did. No one in my family had ever been in the creative arts in any way, shape, or form. Nobody in the history of my family, as far as I can tell, was ever in that. But one of the very first multiplexes, movie theaters with like 10 theaters, opened, and it was a half-hour bike ride from my house. And when I discovered that, when they had first built it, and when I discovered there were these back routes and alleys, and I had to drive on the freeway for a little bit, but nothing too bad, I could get there. I would go there on a Saturday morning. I would buy a matinee ticket for like $3 for the first show of the day. And then I would bring a whole bunch of food and I would sneak into 2 or 3 other movies. So I would watch on the average Saturday, I would watch 3 movies on a Saturday. And I was watching like rated R. I was like young and I was watching rated R. I was watching all this sort of stuff. And I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love with movies and with storytelling, with story. And I just decided then that it was also the late 80s. which I don't remember. I don't know. You're far too young for this, but in the late 80s, we had this obsession with Japan. Like Japan was buying our real estate and they were doing everything right and we were doing everything wrong. There's a movie, Rising Sun, which is actually a Crichton novel. Crichton. Michael Crichton wrote a very jingoistic Japan is the evil enemy that is coming and is going to eat our lunches book, which is actually it's a pretty good mystery story. But it's all about that. It's all about how the Japanese have 100-year plan, and we don't even have a 10-year plan, and they're going to take over.
Very true.
And it was at that time where they were saying that in Japan you spend 10 years, there's 10,000 hours or whatever studying something just to become an expert at it, and that was the Japanese mindset. And I thought, okay, I don't know anybody in film, I don't know anybody in writing, but if I dedicate 10 years of my life, I'm 16 years old. I'll only be 26. I can still do anything else I want to do with the rest of my life. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for it. And I told my guidance counselor that as a sophomore in high school and had no idea what to do with me. No idea. It was just like, let's do an aptitude test and see what skills you might have, because this is nonsense.
She's like, do you want to be a postman? I think you'd be a great postman. You're like, no, I don't want to be a postman.
I think I was a pretty smart kid, so I think they were thinking lawyer, doctor, scientist. They were thinking that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was basically the notion I got from them. But I told them, I said, I want to go to a good liberal arts college that has a great writing program. And then for my master's degree, I want to go to one of the top film schools. And guess what? That's exactly what I ended up doing. I came out to, I got my bachelor's at Vassar, which is a fantastic writing program.
Yes.
And then, go Big Pink. And then I got accepted to USC Film School, the number one film school in the world. Came out, made a whole bunch of weird little short films. And for my thesis, I wrote a screenplay, feature-length screenplay. And it took 3 years, but that ended up being the first thing that I ever sold, which has never happened. When I talk to screenwriters, I mentor a group, MFA candidates for screenwriting. And I tell them all the time, look, the very first thing I wrote sold. I've never met another person that's done that. It's never happened before. I was tremendously fortunate. The year I sold my script was the year that the most spec scripts had ever sold. So it was just right time, right place, and a good concept. And it just ended up happening. And so I got a foot in the door very, very early, which was great because I didn't know anybody and I didn't know anything about the business. Now, the next 5 years were really tough because suddenly I'm in the Writers Guild. I'm a sold screenwriter. I'm going on meeting after meeting after meeting, and I don't know what I'm doing yet, right? And so getting those first few jobs after that and making a career of it, I had to I couldn't learn in the shadows anymore. I couldn't make my mistakes and put them aside and leave that. I had to, show my work, and I had to have some brutal meetings sometimes where people were like, "This is not what we're asking for," and this is we're gonna tell you how the business is, kid. All right, sit down. Here we go. All right. So, but all's well that ends well.
So, what did they end up making your first script that they bought? Or is it just
eventually they did. There was a 3-studio bidding war for it. It was quite a exciting thing. I sold it for enough money. Let's say the very first story sale that I had was mid 6 figures. So it was fantastic.
Oh.
And I had low to mid 6 figure student debt, and I paid off every single student loan. Right then and there.
That was smart.
Right? Exactly.
Yep, that was smart.
Yeah. And I had just a little bit left over from that, but I was absolutely free and clear and ready to start the next phase of my life. And it did not get made that time. But somebody else optioned it later on when the rights reverted, and then ended up USA Network said, we like this. We think that this is a TV series. Why don't we take this 2-hour movie and turn it into a 2-hour backdoor pilot TV movie kind of thing for USA? And then if it goes well, we'll make it into a series. And that's what happened. We went and we shot it in Toronto. I was in Toronto for a very cold winter. And I was the executive producer on it. We made it. It actually was good enough that it got released theatrically in Europe and abroad. So it was released as a movie. And the movie called Thought Crimes. It's very hard to find, but if you can find it, it's all one word, Thought Crimes. And if you want to check out something that's kind of fun, not bad, you should check it out.
Definitely. I was hoping you'd drop what it was. I was like, I wonder if I know what it was. You said USA, and then I was like skating my brain for any USA movie I ever saw. And I was like, oh my God, did you write that? Did you ever see that movie where Judd Nelson was a screenwriter and he like abducted women and then made like a garden of dead women? Like he would sink them in the ocean to get ideas for his screenwriting.
What? Now I have to watch this movie. This is insane.
It had a sequel, like Judd Nelson. It was crazy, and I was like, "Did you fucking write that? Like that would have really changed things." So that movie made an impact. I saw this when I was little.
That is a little dark for me. I'm gonna say, and a little self-referential. I haven't written a movie about a screenwriter yet, so.
I think that's smart. You're too good for that.
No, exactly. You want to know the sad thing? The sad thing is that I have an idea. I have an idea that I think is really good. That's about a screenwriter. But we'll see. That's
not a bad thing. Maybe you're the one that'll buck the trend, and it won't be cliche as fuck.
Listen, some of them are good. Okay, Sunset Boulevard, amazing movie.
Never saw it. I had trash parents that showed me trash 90s movies, so
I love trash 90s movies. That's absolutely acceptable.
Right?
Big fan.
Like you just
big fan.
Like don't tell mom the babysitter's dead, all that stuff. But now you rewatch it. Like I rewatched Death Becomes Her and I was like, there wasn't much story there. Like when you rewatch it now, I'm like, we just had very slim pickings, didn't we, back then? Like
I like Death Becomes Her. I like don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. I think Christina Applegate does a great job in that movie, and I think Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her is just chewing scenery left, right, and center. Bob Zemeckis directed that. I was at a screening where Bob Zemeckis was talking about the making of that film, and Meryl was talking about the film. They were both there. I got to ask them a question. It was awesome.
See, let's hear more stories like that. I don't have anything like that. I grew up in Sandwich, Illinois, Tom. It's not good. It's not good. Let's hear. What was your favorite thing you worked on?
Let's see. Sahara, right behind me here, was really, really fun because I got to be a part of that throughout virtually the entire process, which was fun. So Sahara is based on a Clive Cussler novel. So, and the backstory on that one is Clive had one book of his made before, and it was called Raise the Titanic. It was 20 years before Sahara, and it was a disaster. And the famous review from it is, based on the cost, it would have been cheaper to lower the Atlantic. That was what they said about the movie, and he hated it so much and hated the process so much that he swore that he would never let another one of his books become a movie. So when I'm working with a producer that I've written a couple things for and absolutely loves what I'm doing, and wants to fly me out to Scottsdale, Arizona, to the Clive Cussler compound.
He has a compound in Scottsdale?
He's got two. He's got a compound in Scottsdale, and he's deceased now, I should say. And he's got one in Telluride, which I also got to check out. And it was so daunting because they're like, listen, he's a little prickly. He doesn't like anyone in the movie business. All right. Now,
no pressure.
You're not very movie business. You're not very Hollywood. Now, I've become much more Hollywood now, but back then. So he's like, just talk to him about what you love about Sahara, and don't get into too much details about what you want to change. Just talk about what you like. And it was one of those meetings where the first hour was so uncomfortable because anything you say, he was like, that's all, but just give me a bunch of bullshit about this and that, the other thing, right? And all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be bad. Until I look over his shoulder and I recognize a bottle of tequila that he has sitting on the shelf. And I go, is that Tres Generaciones? And he goes, you know that? I said, I love that. And he goes, let's see. He gets out, starts pouring it. Half hour later, we're all 3 sheets to the wind. We're laughing. We're having a great time. And that was how Sahara began. That was how it began. And then the whole process was really great. I mean, the cast of that movie, Matthew McConaughey, just before the reconnaissance, where he's I think 2 years later, he's winning Oscars. Like he was just coming up. Penelope Cruz is amazing. William H. Macy is amazing. Steve Zahn is amazing. Delroy Lindo is amazing. We got great actors in every single one of the roles. We shot it in the south of Spain and in Morocco. It was a really, really interesting, exciting place, exciting time. And to be part of the process through the process was just amazing. Absolutely phenomenal.
So you got to be there on set, see them shooting everything.
A little bit. I didn't get to be on set for the whole time. My writing partner was on set more of the time. The reason being is that we had another project to write after that. And when you're on set, you're putting out fires, you're doing little rewrites. So we were just constantly on calls back and forth about, I'm telling him the next project and how it's going, and we're troubleshooting that. He's saying that they want to rewrite for this scene, and so we're talking through that. That's how that goes. But for a little bit, yeah, for sure, for a little bit.
How many films have you worked on?
I don't know the number. If you look at my IMDb, you'll see credits wise, I think I'm at 5 or 6, and 2 video games in the mix there. If you look at what I actually worked on, though, all right. So here's the thing: when you first write, when you first make it into the business, you're basically writing on spec. You're writing a entire idea all by yourself and hoping somebody wants to buy it. Then people start meeting with you, and they will have, well, you know what? Our development executive has an idea for a movie, or more often than not, the director who runs this production company has an idea. Nobody's been able to crack it. Here it is. And they'll give you a really bad idea. But if you go and you work for like weeks trying to figure out a way, how do I make this a story? You potentially might crack it and get a job writing that, right? After you proved yourself doing a few of those, then they're like, well, we have this book and we need somebody to adapt it, right? And then you move to that. If you do well with that, then they want you doing more script doctoring, which is, I don't want you doing 6 months, 9 months on this book. I would rather have you do 1 month where you just do the action scenes for this project, right? Rewrite those. Or we want you to do a character polish for this actor and do that. So once you get to that level, you're generally not getting credit on the movies anymore, right? Because you're writing parts of the movie, not the whole movie anymore, and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of movies where they're $100-200 million budgets. There's not going to be one writer anymore on those things, or at least it's rare that happens. So Doctor Strange, you can see up there. I do not have credit on Doctor Strange. I did a lot of work on Doctor Strange, but I didn't end up with credit. I would say for that, there's movies like Uncharted, Cowboys and Aliens, Doctor Strange, a bunch of others where I did a lot of work on that movie. You can see there are scenes, there are moments. Sometimes there's the entire structure of the film is still essentially my structure that is in there. And so there's probably another 6 to 10 movies like that.
Is that tough, though? You put in all that work and then your name's not there?
Yeah, some of them are tough. Some of them are totally understandable. Some of them are like, no, I shouldn't be getting credit on that. You learn to roll with the punches. Look, the movie business pays writers so well, but they pay us for the indignity. They pay us for how poorly they treat you after you've written something. It's really, really rough. I mean, now that I'm in the book side of the business a little bit, I have an editor in London who is giving me notes and saying, now, I just want to preface this. They're the sweetest, nicest notes I've ever read in my life. They're just a love letter. And she thinks she's being so harsh. I'm like, you have no idea what I get on a daily basis in the movie business. I mean, it's a real dog eat dog world out here. It's a lot of knife fighting and phone booths. And you just have to, you have to develop a thick skin very early on, because it's a lot of people that don't know writing. They don't really know story. They know something about making movies, right? They know, some of them are relationship people and they're about putting the right people together. And they're very good at knowing, like a lot of readers, they're very good at knowing what doesn't work. What they're not good at is knowing why it doesn't work. So so the notes you're going to get aren't always the best. They're not always the most insightful. Now, I've also worked with amazing people that are tremendously insightful. And not only that, but actually are kind of giving you the answer. Like, you're doing the work for me. I think this is beautiful. But there's a lot of people that are not quite a story literate that are still telling you what to do with your story. So there you go.
That's got to be tough. And there's a hierarchy, and it seems like there's rules. Like, I think it's easy from the outside. Yeah, from the outside, I can be like, we'll just do this and this and this. But you're like, no, because of X, Y, and Z.
It is, but it's also kind of fun and exciting. It's like you're a gladiator. You're strapping on the armor every day. You're going in there. You're fighting it out, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Hopefully, you don't lose a hand. And you just keep going. There's an excitement to it as well that is kind of invigorating, and you really, really learn story. You really learn character as a screenwriter in a way that my guess is, as if I had just been a novelist, I think it would have taken me a lot longer to get really good at it, because there wasn't that pressure. There wasn't that, I would say that in novel writing, especially indie writing, where you're your own boss, you don't have quite the same evil echo chamber that is telling you, hey, this is not cutting it, get good fast, right? And all that sort of stuff going on. So there's a lot of negative feedback, but hey, guess what? That grows you too.
That's very true. So, no, you go.
I was going to say we learn. I was just going to say I've always learned more from my mistakes than I have from my successes. So I think that is something that is hyper concentrated in the film business.
But that's also really good, just life in general. I think that we all kind of learn from our mistakes. If you don't, then you're not doing it right. Then you're just continually making mistakes. So it's interesting that you say that, because Drew went to film school and he did screenwriting, and he's talked about how he's felt like that really helped his craft, because he's writing as if he's watching a movie, and that really helps put people in it. And do you think that has significantly helped you as well?
Oh, absolutely. So let's just take Sahara as an example again. Sahara, the novel, was 193,000 words. The screenplay for Sahara, the screenplay for Sahara is 23,000 words. Almost all screenplays have a max out at around 23,000 words, because that's about 120 screenplay pages. And
that's
120 screenplay pages. Page. Exactly. That's a 2-hour movie right there. And listen, every once in a while, you get an opportunity to write something that's longer than 2 hours, but for the most part, you do not, because that equals 6 screenings a day of that movie. 5 to 6 screenings of a movie a day. And if it's even a half hour longer, you're down to 4 screenings a day. That is limiting the amount of money that film is going to be able to make during that period. And that's one of the reasons why films tend to be that length. in order to take the 193,000 words and create a relatively similar story experience in 23,000 words, you have to know exactly what you have to know story in and out. You have to know character in and out. You have to know theme in and out. In Sahara, the novel, there are scenes that are just about this one thing. They're just about this character moment. They're just about this one plot point. In the movie Sahara, every scene is about 4 layers deep. It is about this character moment. It is about setting up this, which is going to pay off 3 scenes later. It is about this plot point, and it's about this antagonist beat that are all happening in the exact same scene in 3 minutes of screen time. All of that is happening. And that's the only way you can take something that is so big and so long and compress it. You need to really layer and create layered story. So as much as I think visual storytelling is one of the strengths you learn as a screenwriter, I think layered storytelling, deeper storytelling is also something that is drilled into you because it's the only way you can make these things work. And frankly, when I finish a book, it's going to readers who are going to read the book and they're going to like it or not like it or whatever. My beta team and all that sort of stuff are going to be saying what they want to say. When I finish a screenplay, sometimes that's going to Angelina Jolie. Sometimes she's going to be reading that and she's reading that character. And if she's not getting depth, if she's not getting nuance, if she's not getting something that is deeply and intensely layered that gives her a lot to work with, she's going to reject it. And that's a missed opportunity. That is a green light that just suddenly turned yellow, right? So that's the bar. That's the bar that you're at that level.
So let's talk about how you pivoted from screenwriting into books.
Yes. Okay. So when you are a screenwriter, you are writing about the industry averages between 10 and 20. 10 and 20 projects get written that never get made. So yeah, because to say yes, to make that a full green light and to make that movie, you're going to spend $200 million at the budget I'm writing at, $200 million. That's a huge, huge outlay. Whereas the screenwriting cost, that's what, $500,000, something along those lines. It's nothing. So they will buy a lot of scripts for me. They will have me write a lot of scripts that will get close, and they will get this actor attachment. They'll get this director attachment. It'll be moving along, and then suddenly the head of the studio leaves, and a new guy comes in, and he has no allegiance to any of these projects, and he's got to choose what he's going to go. And sometimes you survive that, but it's a long process to get a movie made, and sometimes it just isn't going to pan out. A lot of times it isn't going to pan out. So if I'm writing, if you would say that of the 12, 15 projects that have actually made it, I've got 38 that have never seen the light of day, that I've worked for 6 months to a year on, slaving over it, trying to make it everything I can make it. And only 6 people, only 10 people, only 20 people have ever read it. That's something that is sitting on my shelf, that's sitting in the back of my brain that I could turn into a book. And I've already done all the work for it. I mean, it could be an amazing book. So there's always been a thought in my mind that eventually at some point I'm going to be taking some of these projects, some of these darlings that got strangled before they ever got born, and I'm going to make them into books. That has always been in the back of my mind. And then last year, the studios and the producers did me a huge service. They really, really helped me out. They said, Tom, we think that you should start writing those books now. They called it the writer's strike, where they closed us out and shut the doors and told me that I couldn't write movies for 6 months last year. So I couldn't, if I can't write that, why don't I write this? And I'd actually already started Year of the Rabbit, my debut novel. I had already been basically about halfway through it. Basically, in between projects, I would have 3 weeks or a month or so on and so forth to spend time writing that. So I'd written about half of it. Well, guess what? When you have 6 months off, wrote the whole rest of the thing. I edited it. I got it done. I had already been to 20 Books Vegas the year before. I was on the screenwriting panel, and got to meet Craig Martell and a whole bunch of people who were very welcoming. They were wonderfully welcoming people, and they put it into my head that, hey, consider indie publishing this. And because I have like 4 agents and a manager and 3 entertainment lawyers, and so I had all the things to go traditional. But I also had these relationships with, like Clive Cussler's dead, but with Clive Cussler, I'd worked with Ray Bradbury. I worked with and from that, like tons of other authors that I have worked with and worked close with. And I asked all of them, what do you think of this? And they said, the smartest thing to do is you have a good agent, all that sort of stuff. Let it go out. Let it go to some of these publishing houses. If you do not get a big offer, like a good offer, indie publish it yourself, because they are not going to be pushing the books. They're not going to be doing the work. You're going to be doing the work, and you're going to be doing it for a 10% royalty, 8% royalty instead of a 70% royalty. And I was like, wow, and this is coming from big names. This is coming from people that currently are writing, the Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy books, or writing the Jason Bourne books. These are the people that were telling me, consider going indie, consider it, think about it. Finished the book. When it went out, I had some nibbles, but I didn't have any big offers. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And thanks to my agent, I'm going to do it myself. And he's like, I can't blame you. Do it. Go for it.
And it's been doing well. I mean, like I said, you were all over Japan with your book and Thailand. So let's go into like, how'd that come about?
Well, listen, let's put it into perspective. It did not do that well, but I'm very, very happy with the release. Asking people like you and Drew and Craig and showing them what it did. They're like, no, for a book that you're not even advertising, it did very well. I'm building up that base of people that are subscribed to my newsletter, so that I got people to send it out to. I've got a great ARC team now that is in place. The book is on Amazon, has about 120 reviews now.
That's
and it
huge.
has a 4.9 review average out of 5,
That's
which is astonishing.
Rare as fuck.
Yeah. And weirdly, the Goodreads, which is always lower because they're very persnickety and very, very difficult, has actually gone up. I have 70 something reviews on Goodreads, and it's now up to a 4.7 on Goodreads. Yeah, which is weird. It turns out that my friends who are the early reviewers, they're much more literary types. They're hoity-toity Vassar people, and they were like, well, I liked it, but it's not the second coming. Whereas the people who have discovered it after that are more the genre readers, are more the spy action thriller readers, and they're loving it. They're absolutely loving it. So I've been very fortunate. I'm super happy with how that went. And onwards and upwards. I'm trying to get to, when I get book 2 out, I'm going to start doing a little bit of advertising, just exploring it. And when book 3 comes out, I'm going to start pushing heavy into the ad market. And, I talked to people like Steve Higgs in England, who's really, really good at the advertising. And he was just like, with this kind of review, selling your book should be a very easy thing to do. And, it's just a matter of getting enough products out into the marketplace to carry that on. And I hope he's right. We'll see. But I think I'm very hopeful. And if not this, then the next one. Like I said, I have tons and tons of material that is ready to be converted into novels and in that space. So I'm excited about it.
Do you have to wait, though, if they're optioned by somebody? Don't you have to wait until they come back to do a book, right?
I've been screenwriting for 30 years, and rights revert after 7 to 10 years. So I have a lot of things back.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I was going to say that would worry me if you have all those ideas. So is Year of the Rabbit, is this a solo or are there going to be a series?
Oh, it is the first in the Malcolm Chaucer thriller series.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, the second book, Year of the Horse, I am doing a final edit of it before I hand it off to my editor, and expect that out. Probably, I'm looking to safely say it, May. I think May of this year it'll be out. It might be out slightly before that, but definitely should be out in May. And then the one after that, Year of the Serpent, which we're in the Year of the Snake this year. That one I'm looking to have out by August. That one I already have a draft of that. Quick story. I thought the second book was Year of the Serpent, so I wrote the rough draft of it. And by the time I got to the end of it, I realized, oh, this is not the second book in the series. This is the third book in the series. There were all these things that were happening in the book that I realized this needs a story before this to have it make sense, for the character arcs to work and all that sort of stuff. So I'll have the second and third book out. Hopefully by the end of the summer, I should be at book 3 and done. Hopefully. And
wow.
Then,
are there more? Is it just 3 in this series? Okay.
No. Well, there are 12 zodiac symbols. I think I could probably do all of those. And then there's ideas like, the titles like Year of Living Dangerously is a great book that I love. So there are all kinds of other year ofs that I could do to keep it going, as long as the characters are interesting and people are really, really loving the character of Malcolm Chaucer and the second lead, Tempest McLaren, his ex-wife. So it becomes kind of a two-hander as the series goes on.
So do you have any other big plans for any big series? Or is it just going to be standalones? Do you think, like, what's your bread and butter? What do you really like?
Well, I have a list of 30 books that I'm ready to go on and ready to write. And I would say probably 15 of them are standalones and 15 of them are series. That said, I know that as an indie author, series are much, much better to market. So putting the business cap on, I'm going to be writing the series first. That's what I'm going to be doing. And probably with the standalones, I will probably consider going more hybrid with those and have my agent team see if a trad publisher wants to pick those up, because for a standalone book, that's something that trad does, has an easier time marketing and selling than we do in the indie space. So that's probably where I'm going. But I think for me right now, getting this series up and running and getting it, probably I wouldn't consider doing something else until I'm 4, 5, 6 books deep in it before I consider doing something else. But I've got science fiction stories. I've got, fantasy-ish stories. I got horror-ish stories a little bit that are ready and raring to go. As you can see, A Sound of Thunder, Archangel, Cowboys and Aliens, Uncharted, Sahara. I write in a bunch of, they're all pretty thrillery, actiony, but there's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's all that stuff that I've already written in. And once you get some success writing in a genre in Hollywood, they want you to do a lot more of that. So there's a lot of that's been written.
And then do you feel, so you're still screenwriting, correct? Like that's not going away because you're doing the book.
That's correct.
You have to have a leg up about getting these things made more than anybody else, right? I mean, you're in the industry and you can be like, look, I have the book. We have the source material. I can write the screenplay. Like that has to.
I've got relationships and things like that. I haven't given Year of the Rabbit out yet because I want to have 3 books before I approach my. I'm repped at CAA, which is the largest agency in the world, and they do a lot of packaging and things like that. And before I even talk to them about that, I want to have it be at least 3 books deep, because if you send them one book, they're thinking movie. If you send them 3 books, they're thinking this could be a series of movies. This could be a TV series. It gives you a lot more options in terms of buyers, in terms of the market. So that's where I'm looking at.
And then I'm going to see you at Author Nation and BoucherCon, right? We're going to have some fun at these conferences this year.
And probably NINC. I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I don't technically qualify for NINC because I'm too new a writer. But Kyla Stone read Year of the Rabbit and told Dave Behrens, who runs NINC, you have to have. She also saw my talk at Author Nation on deep character, and it's like you have to have Tom Donnelly come. You have to have him talk deep character. NINC membership. They need to hear this. This guy's good. And so Dave reached out to me. Dave, I actually hired to do my first cover for Year of the Rabbit. I didn't end up going with it. It's a different cover author. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry about that. He's like, don't be. That happens all the time. It's no big deal, but he knew, like, I'm from the movie business. I've directed short films and things like that. I'm very, very particular. I'm like, okay, here's what I'd like you to change. And I give him a checklist of 10 things. And he's like, most authors don't talk to cover designers that way. He said it wasn't bad. It was just a lot. It was just like very specific, very detailed. Like he could say, he said, I knew you had a vision and I knew we didn't quite get there. So I was like, okay, good. So
that was a nice way to say it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see if the NINC membership or board or whatever the process is. We'll see if they end up being able to shoehorn me into the thing. But we'll see. I'm also, that week I'm gonna be a keynote speaker in Dublin. So what I would have to do is I would have to come to NINC for the first 3 days, and then take the red eye from Tampa to Dublin, and then do another 3 days in Dublin. So we'll see if that works out.
Do you even want to do that? That sounds crazy.
Oh, I'm an Irish citizen. I have 2 passports. I would love anytime somebody's going to fly me over to my homeland. I would love to go back and talk to them as well. Plus, the guy running that program, the Dublin Writers Conference, real sweetheart, just a real joy of a guy that I got to know a little bit at Author Nation, and I would love to be able to do that as well.
So it sounds like Author Nation was quite successful for you this year. Like, you were just the mover and shaker. I mean, you were the darling in the best way possible.
Listen, I come from a relationship business, right? Most authors work almost entirely by themselves in a lot of isolation, and then they come to these conferences, and they're wonderful, lovely introverts.
Yes.
But they're sweethearts. I'm an extrovert. You're an extrovert. That's why we hit it off so well, for sure.
We're like, right? Our people. We found our people.
Exactly. But I'm a strategic extrovert. Like I'm an extrovert, no question about it. But I also walked into 20 books the year before. I have 4 goals. Here are my 4 goals. What am I doing? And at the end of every day, I just sit down with myself and I said, okay, what did you do to advance those goals? Right. And the same thing this year. So I go in with there is a plan here. There is a target. And most of the plan is, get to know the writers that think about writing the same way you do, that treat it as both a business and a joy. Right? That treat it as both a business and a joy, that are very serious about it, that are thoughtful about how they approach it from all aspects, and find your particular section of this tribe, and make yourself available to them in terms of my experience in the movie business, but also tell them that, listen, I'm looking for people that I can talk to, that I can ask questions about, that have been in this a lot longer, that are going to help me along this process, right? And the best way you do that is by I don't network per se. I sit down drink with people, tell stories, listen to their stories. I become friends with people. Like networking has too much of an agenda to me. Like I don't like that. Like I want to become your friend. I want to be somebody that you're having a great time with. And then we'll see if there's anything down the line that we can do for each other. That's what I want to do.
And I think that's the way you do it, though, because that's very genuine. Because, you're not, like you said, going in with an agenda. Networking is you would talk to somebody that you might not even like just because it'll advance your career. But if you're surrounding yourself, especially when you were like, yeah, I got invited to this. I'm like, you got invited to something nobody gets invited to. That Craig Martell
thing,
the Aruba,
yeah.
The Aruba. Like between you and I, Drew was like, I've never been invited. And I was like, baby, we don't have Aruba money right now. It's Trump's America. We're not doing Aruba. You haven't sold a bunch of screenplays. So, it's just so great to see you embraced so wholeheartedly. And also, let's be honest, these introverts are little Hollywood whores and they love that. Like they love, that's such a commodity that you have.
I'm a shiny new thing that they're enjoying hanging out with. I get it. But I'm going to sing for my supper. I'm going to make sure that to the extent that I can be, I'm indispensable to them, and not just the Hollywood thing, also the writing thing. Like I am such a newbie in terms of marketing, in terms of, ads and all that sort of stuff. That is brand new to me. I am kneeling at everybody's feet, learning what little tidbit of advice you have. But on the writing side, I've been a professional writer longer than pretty much everybody at Author Nation. I've been doing it a lot longer.
Absolutely.
So in terms of my insight as far as plot, character, theme, all these sorts of things, I got a lot to say, and I got some gravitas to back that up. So I love talking story. It's my favorite thing in the world to talk about. It is. All right, I'm going to go off here. So it is the thing that makes us human. All right. It is the thing that makes us human. When you go way back to our ancestors, and I'm talking Homo habilis, I'm talking, pre-Homo sapien even, we were bipedal, hairless apes. What advantage does that give you? Interestingly, it makes us persistence hunters. That's what we are. We're persistence hunters. We were not the strongest. There were tons of animals that were apex predators that were stronger than us. We were not the fastest, not by a long shot. There's so many things were faster than us. Smartest? Yeah, kind of. But in the early days, that doesn't give us a ton of advantage until we've developed tools, like really, really tools. That's a long way. That's 1,000,000 years of evolution it took us for that intelligence to be that good at that many things. What we were good manipulators of heat energy. What this means is that we see the lion out there. That's good eating. That's going to feed our tribe for a week or a month, right? We cannot outfight it. We're not as fast as it. We're going to have to track that thing over long distances. And every time it runs, it's running on 4 legs. So it's using a lot more energy. Every time it runs, it's got a heavy coat that makes it hot and overheated, and it will tire. We are on 2 legs. We're energy efficient. We're hairless. We're able to expel all of this heat energy and stay cool. We were marathon runners that were slowly tracking down these beasts over miles and miles and miles. And because of that, sometimes we're fording rivers. Sometimes we're climbing over mountain ranges. And guess what? On the way back, sometimes those rivers are flooded and we can't get back. Sometimes there was an earthquake or there was a winter storm. We can't get over that mountain pass anymore. And we have to find a new tribe, a new group of persistence hunters that are completely alien to us, that do not speak. We don't have a common language. So how do we get along? How do we survive with people that are absolutely hostile to us? We tell stories. We act out. We pantomime the hunt that we were just on, how we got here. We share stories and knowledge, and that's how we become part of this new tribe. And eventually how this tribe and our previous tribe, when we're able to reunite, might become a larger tribe. It's through story. Story predates language for the human race. It is one of our main adaptations that allowed us to survive and thrive and become who we are. That is what we are a part of. We're part of that tradition. You talk about the oldest profession being prostitution. Storyteller. It predates all of that.
And you're so right. And the people that I think are really good storytellers are also the people that really are the ones that make connections with people because they feel a camaraderie and stuff. So it's really a gift. So, and that's even what I'm doing here is we're telling stories,
Exactly.
And like, because people will be like, what's your podcast? I'm like, really? I just have my friends on, like if I enjoy them, I think other people will enjoy them. And there's no agenda. I'm not like, well, I'm going to get Kim Kardashian on because I don't want to fucking talk to Kim Kardashian. I don't.
You really don't.
I don't. There's nothing to say. Like, what, she'll show me her butt or something? Like, I don't. I want to hear some awesome stories. So, okay, here we go. Let's end it on a high note. What's your best Hollywood story? Like, what's like your barn burner? Somebody had to say, this is the story.
I don't have one of those. I have a lot of great little stories. I don't have any big story. I will say that couple of years back, I got a chance to work with a person that I consider a legend. And it's always one of those situations where be careful when you meet your legends, right? Because they often do not pay out. I met Jackie Chan. I worked with Jackie Chan on 2 different projects now. And he was such a delight, everything you think a meeting with Jackie Chan could be. It was that and more. And he's getting up in age. He's like an older guy now. Like he is pushing, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's got to be in his 70s, if not even older than that. And I would tell him the story, and his English isn't great. So we kept it very simple, and we talked about the story. He would ask questions, and then all of a sudden he starts getting up and he's saying, and I could do this. And his way of crafting scenes and crafting moments is physical. And he is acting out these moments and doing these things in this conference room that I am just stunned watching him do. He's creating character through physicality and through motion and through stunts, essentially, and these feats of agility. And at the same time, saying jokes. It was one of the most amazing moments of my life, just watching a person that was absolutely in love with the process of creation in a completely different way than my process of creation. And yet understanding that we are exactly the same. We're doing it in totally different ways, but we're both trying to find what is the humanity of this person, what is the humanity of this character, what are the stakes of this moment. And watching him do that through his body was absolutely phenomenal. I will cherish that moment, and I'll cherish all the moments I've had with Jackie Chan. I will cherish them until the day I die.
Damn, Jackie Chan. I haven't thought of him in years.
He's amazing. Watch a movie called The Foreigner he did not too long ago. The guy has acting chops. He is transitioning into, like, he still does physicality, but he is becoming a really interesting actor. So yeah, check that out for sure.
He's also getting older. He can't keep doing all that stuff. Like you said, if he's almost 80, we don't need Jackie Chan. We need Rush Hour 10. That's what we need. He needs to do Rush Hour. I don't even know how many Rush Hours are out. That's
I think the next one would be 4.
That's my favorite reference. Okay,
yeah.
4. I think that what the fuck is what's his face doing? I don't even remember Chris
Tucker.
Who else? Tucker. Yeah, what is he doing? They could do Rush. You should write Rush Hour 4.
Right?
I think we just figured it out. Rush Hour 4.
You never know. You never know. Never say never.
Never say never. I love that. So I think as soon as your new book comes out, I'm going to put that on here too. So, but I want everyone right now, Year of the Rabbit. I'm calling it right now. That is the book of the year.
People have absolutely loved it. The review average speaks for it, but I've also had people writing me just saying, what a breath of fresh air it was. I'm super happy about that. I hope you like it. If you like thrillers of any kind, give it a chance. Give it a chance, because it is a spy thriller, but it's not your daddy's spy thriller. It is an action thriller, but it's not one of these masculine, hyper-masculine action thrillers. It has characters that people seem to really, really love and can't wait to see more of. And I hope you give it a chance. And tell you what, if you read the end, if you get to the end of chapter 2, and they're very short chapters, if you get to the end of chapter 2 and you don't want to keep reading, I will give you your money back. Reach out to me. I'll give you your money back. You're
not going to need to do that. I already know. I promise I'm going to read it. I'm sorry. I did let life get in the way, but I'm also a true crime gal. That is my other hurdle. There's always like fiction, but I'm like, I love true crime, but I'm also the type of person that covers my eyes when there's gore on TV. I'm like, I can't handle that.
That's a large. There's a lot of women that are absolute true crime junkies. And it's kind of amazing. It's cathartic for you guys, isn't it? Right? To hear these stories and to know, well, that's not me, right? That hasn't happened to me.
But I also will be like, oh shit. Every time they describe someone that got murdered, I'm like, that sounds like me. Where they're like, everyone loved her. She was this and that. So I just imagine what my murder story would sound like. So here's the deal. If I get murdered, I need you to write the screenplay. I'm trusting you.
Sure. I will.
You have full rights to the story.
Yeah. I will go to whatever prison Drew is in, and I will interview him. And it's always the husband. Okay.
It is always the husband.
It's always the husband. Okay. All right.
But this would be the circumstance where it wasn't, and he would like get blamed and be put in jail, and it would be like some random like landscaper that like saw me in the house, but they framed him.
I could see it on Dateline already. They seemed like they had the perfect marriage.
That's it. They lived in Agritopia, where you didn't have to lock your doors, but little did they know. Danger was lurking behind the perfectly manicured lawns.
Exactly.
See, I've got it. Well, Tom, I have to say, I have missed you since I saw you. It is a joy, not just because of this. I can't wait to sing karaoke with you. I sure hope you're in Nink, because that is off the hook. David and I are very good friends. I was trying to get him laid at the last conference. So whatever you need, I got your back. I was like, there was this cute young girl, Tori, and I was like, doesn't he look like he lives on a boat and has a lot of money? You know, that's really hot right now. Older guy. It didn't end up working out. We ended up taking her back to her room, so everyone thought like we were in a threesome, which was good for us. Tori, you're gorgeous.
No problem.
But so whatever you guys, I'm a sister. Like if you need to get laid, you need drugs, you need something, like I've got you.
I call you fun in a box. Sarah Strickland, fun in a box.
Fun in a box. My box is fun. All of it. All of the I mean, Tom, I never had anyone in my box I had any complaints from. So
Understood.
And on that note, I'm going to let you go. Write your screenplays, write your books. But everyone, please, please, please pick up Year of the Rabbit. If you do anything for me this year, please. He is the man. I'm calling it right now. He will be the breakout indie star. I'm sorry, honey. I love you, Drew, but I think Year of the Rabbit's going to be the book. I'm making my thing right now.
Sarah, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great, I can't wait to see you, Tom. You better be in contact.
Looking forward to it.